Hi, my name is Ethan, and I am a student at Frontier High School. Today, I'll be interviewing Richard and will be focusing and exploring the idea of branding and its relevance to marketing. Welcome, Richard.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's nice to have you out here. Richard, will you please tell me a little about yourself?
Oh yeah, I'm a student at the prestigious Liberty University.
Well, let me get straight to the point, Richard. Is branding still relevant as a marketing effort in today's word of mouth, social media environment, and reality?
That's a very good question, Ethan, and I think it's at the top of a lot of people's minds these days. Today's massive influx of information and speedy access to it poses a question, the very same one that you asked, and I'll attempt to answer it here shortly. The digital technological reality of the turn of the century ushered in the information age. That is, information literally at the tip of one's fingers, at the speed of light. The question that this leads to is the very same one you asked. Is branding still relevant as a marketing effort in today's word of mouth, social media environment, and reality? Before I attempt to answer this, I will need to dissect the phenomenon of branding. This is in order to make sense of the answer. Well, let's delve into this matter.
Okay, Richard, please tell me, what is branding?
Well, Burleson and Randstad defines branding as a managerial technique that aims to manage the meaning and values associated with an organization, its products and activities, has mainly been understood as a value-creating tool. When one sees or hears of a brand, their mind goes to a perceived experience. For example, Disney created a brand of peace and safety, a place where kids are sure to feel at home and parents can visit childhood sentiments, even only for a moment in time. Brands also extend to the visual encounter. A logo may communicate the brand's fabric and its value proposition. For example, the Mercedes-Benz logo, a three-pointed star, communicates German engineering with a luxury emphasis that is sure to be a superb experience.
So, how is branding established?
Well, Ethan, developing a brand takes much time and consistency. It requires persistence and constant messaging with clarity. Much of the messaging is deployed with the product or service. The point of contact is the pinnacle of the branding impression. For example, McDonald's biggest value proposition that has never been a point of explicit marketing is the consistency of quality standard delivered. Establishing a brand with cachet comes with an intentional effort because an effective and well-executed brand can help increase the perceived value of service. The perceived value of service inspires the brander to deliver the expected quality. In turn, because the brander delivered, the brand experiences was confirmed by the consumer. This synergy between the perceived value and the actual value delivered establishes client and customer loyalty and solidifies it. This takes time and effort.
This leads to the question, when is the time to brand?
Well, the answer is now, Ethan. Mr. Joseph, a writer for Forbes magazine, mentions that business who hit the ground running working on a brand have an advantage over those who do not. This is because a good brand communicates a story of value to the consumer. The story is a company's story that tells their stance, who they are, what they believe in, and how this is delivered with their products and services. Starbucks brand, for example, is synonymous to community, connection, and collaboration, a place where people feel like they belong, where they could meet like-minded friends and exchange thoughts.
So, where are brands appropriate?
Brands do not have to be recognized by everyone and have often only speak to niche markets. For example, Seco Tools, a company that manufactures tools for other manufacturing companies, has a logo brand that consists of a cube filled with 6 quadrants in different shades of blue, yellow, and red. The brand only means something to the manufacturing industry. Manufacturers that use Seco Tools know the reliability and the integrity that comes with the Seco brand. The brand is not only for the consumer, but for the firm as well. When brands are enacted seriously and managed, ultimately, form will follow matter.
So, what is social media's reality?
Well, researchers Qin Gao and Chen Yongfeng found that people often use social media's platform to seek information. For example, news, events, And products. People use social media's platform for entertainment. For example, spreading gossip, pursuing interesting content shared by others, and venting feelings, positive and negative. People use social media's platform for social interaction, especially among young people. For example, meeting new friends. People also use social media for self expression. For example, sharing thoughts about themselves, their lifestyles, and communicate self identity. People use social media for impression management. Media users post personal information to impress a positive desired image. Because social media has become so ingrained in the user's psychological fabric, it is the perfect platform for brands to infuse their value proposition, making the company part of the media user's daily makeup.
This leads to the wonder if social media is an appropriate platform for branding.
Yeah, I could see that wonder. Today's branding strategies must include and perhaps emphasize branding statements via social media platforms. Prani and Tissam found that over 70% of Americans use some type of social media. Most are using multiple social media platforms. The Nielsen Institute found that the average time spent on social media a day by adults was 40 minutes. Marketing campaigns must have a strong social media presence, known as digital branding. Branding is part of the experience sometime in the future, but the journey starts at the moment, upon the consumers acting on the branding encounter and nudge.
So, what is brand's function on social media?
Well, social media users are plentiful throughout the world. Researchers Gao and Fang noted that a survey of participants from 35 countries showed that 50% of social media users are connected to brands. 42% had a conversation with a brand on social media. 36% posted content about a brand or a company on social media. Brands encourage feedback from users, many times offering prizes for participation. Social media platforms are managed with ease, with low overhead, and cost is very reasonable. Because of this, brands can engage with consumers on social media platforms with a long-term relationship building strategy.
Are established big companies exempt from the digital branding space?
No, I wouldn't say that. Kohler, Suri, and Kapoor found that out of the 2,100 companies Harvard Business Review Analytics Service studied, two-thirds were actively using social media. Though social media is a relatively new phenomenon, because of its rapid evolvement and its massively disruptive presence, many companies still have not harnessed social media's energy and potential. Companies who have embraced social media's ubiquitousness and its unique value proposition have been strengthened. Companies who are still on the fence or will not ever make the leap into social media's world, their brand is at risk of fading away. The brand Coca-Cola is as common and familiar as one's uncle. Like him or not, he will always be part of one's life. Big brands that have existed for a while now have a digital branding challenge to continue their message on. For one, consumers who do not like the brand's value also have digital media to make their voices heard. And it's a loud voice, loud as a bullhorn, that should not be ignored.
What would you say brand's challenges are with social media?
Well, the challenges can be the advent of social media has shifted the brand strategy. Consumers' relationships, and now the consumers have a mighty voice via social media platforms. Researchers Rashambo and company explain that many scholars have observed the modern media has shifted the power from organization to consumer. Collaborative brands attacks, also known as CBAs, is when a community of internet users vigorously attack brands online, a common action that can backfire on a company, despite its size. Because of the newness of social media and the branding phenomena, there is not enough experience among brands to know how to handle such attacks.
So, are you seeing brands' values are now exposed?
Pretty much. Pre-World Wide Web, companies' brand values were not challenged enough because of the lack of available information. For many people of good conscience, supporting brands of genuine value is important to them. Christians, for example, look to glorify God in all their actions, including with their purchases. On the other hand, social media has allowed and probed companies to walk the talk with their values. If the talk doesn't match up to the walk, the liable risk is that consumers will respond with CBA action. This is never good for a company's reputation or brand. Genuine companies might have the same sentiment because now they can differentiate themselves according to their true value.
Richard, you have said a lot, but you still haven't provided the answer to the question. Is branding still relevant as a marketing effort in today's word of mouth, social media environment, and reality?
Well, for the most part, brands seem to have transitioned well into the virtual space. The benefit or pros of the internet and online branding have outweighed the cons. As social media continues to develop, branding strategies will be tested and learned from. Many further observations and studies are needed to expand on the long-term effectiveness with online branding and strategies. The core objective of a brand is to manage and communicate its company's values. Further research is also recommended on how social media is affecting and perhaps influencing the values of a company. Ethan, I apologize for providing an elusive answer to the question, but the fact is that though it is obvious that digital media is of great value for branding, only time will clearly divulge the degree of value and long-term effects. I thank you, Ethan, for having me, and for hopefully this information was of some help.
And Richard, it was nice to have you out here.